was like, I can't do this class. Like, I'm gonna have to like drop out or something, or like fake death or something to not do this class. And so I just like feeling very low about it.
Welcome to Twin Spin, the show hosted by us, the Neo Twins. We've shared a birthday, childhood, and now a podcast together. We talk about the stuff that's hard to name but impossible to ignore: growth, identity, creativity, and change. It's part catch-up, part soul-searching, and all about becoming who we're meant to be, all with a twist of twin. Yes.
Good to have you here, Adrian, and
Yes.
good to have our very first in-studio guest on
yes.
the show. Oh, we can clap for that.
Oh, yes,
We can clap
absolutely.
for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
First in person.
I know.
In-person guest.
Now,
Ah.
audience is wondering, who is this man who is here in person? We shall tell you who that is. This is the wonderful Nate Crawford. I have a bio here to read out on Nate here, and I will dive right into it. Nate Crawford is an award-winning commercial food, product, and lifestyle photographer. He is known for his deliciously engaging stills and videos that connects the crossroads between food, community, and hospitality. He loves crafting content that invokes senses of joy, nostalgia, and of course, hunger. He is also the co-founder and baker of Morning Jays. With his partner, Justin Lambert, MJ is a nomadic breakfast pop-up in Chicago, serving up scratch-made sweet and savory breakfast offerings. In addition to his artistic pursuits, Nate is a dedicated photo educator, baker, and person who stutters. Nate, welcome to the show.
Well, Nate sounds interesting.
Yeah, I know.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
That bio, it's like, who wrote that?
Yeah.
I kind of want to get to know him more.
I'm enticed. I'm enticed. Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank you
show.
for having me. I'm so honored.
Yeah, of
No,
course.
happy to have you here. Happy
I
to
love
have
the
you.
show as like a fan of the show. Love it.
thank
so,
you.
So it's an honor to be here on season 2, right?
Yes,
Yeah?
That's
absolutely.
crazy.
Season
Wow,
2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that it's like you're here in the studio. We can like, because I'm so used to like turning here to like interact with the guest, and now I can just like, oh, you're here.
Yeah.
So
I can just-
formal, in the
yeah,
flesh,
in the flesh,
live.
Yes,
live,
live.
Live.
So wonderful.
And you have 2 lessons that you want to talk about on this episode. We will dive right into the lessons here. The first life lesson that you shared that has impacted you the most of the 2 lessons is how a college speech class taught me the power of my voice, and you had in parentheses, as a person who stutters. Can you expand on this lesson and why you chose it as your first lesson?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a story that, like, you know, I think there's moments in our lives where we sort of like, there's sort of these like aha, like earth stopping moments of like, oh wow, this is like huge for me. And this class was surprisingly it. And so it was in college. I was probably 19, 20 maybe, and in order to graduate or like to move on to like your actual degree stuff, you have to have a speech class. And so I was putting it off and off. I was like, because like speech isn't like the theater where you're sort of like performing as a character or whatnot. Speech is like, you're in this dark, weird room, and here is a speech I wrote, and like it's you, right? And so there was this sort of like fear I had about it, and it's like this anxiety of like, who's going to be in this class? Will they be like cruel to me? Will they be kind to me?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think as a person who stutters, it's this sort of like, you know, anything revolving around speech, of course, has this like air of anxiety of like, how will it go?
Yeah.
And so I was at this point, you know, like at that time, I was really at this point where I was just like not in a confident place speech wise of like, I was able to talk about it like openly. I was just like not there yet. And so this class, I was like, okay, well, I have to take this class. I'll take it during the June, July, August months, because there'll probably be less people there, right?
Yeah.
And so I did it, and you know, this class was probably like maybe 20 of us, if that. It was a very, very small class. And so first speech is like, you know, just talk about anything, like write about anything and talk about anything. And so I march on up. I'm like so nervous. I'm shaking, just like so anxious. And like the first paragraph takes probably about like, so the speech itself, what was supposed to be like a 5-minute speech. The first part took about 3 of those minutes. And so I was like panicking, like, oh my God, I can't do the entire speech. And so I like panic and I go to like the very end of the speech and just like have it done, not pleased at all. And I get like an F on like the speech.
Mm-hmm.
And the gal who was our instructor, who was really amazing and nice, was like, it's not because of your speech, but like because you didn't actually give the entire speech. Like you left out key items about the speech, right? And so I was like, okay. And so I left the class. I went to my car and just like broke down. I was like, I can't do this class. I'm gonna have to like drop out or something, or like fake death or something to not do this class. And so I just like feeling very low about it. But I was like, okay, well, I still need to take this class. Let's just get through it. The first speech, if that is the worst it'll ever be, whatever, that's fine. And I started to realize that within this class, it was like full of really amazingly kind folks who are like very open and warm, and like folks who I still follow on Instagram today. Just like, I mean, from like afar, of course, but like, I don't know, like I was really lucky to have a class that was like, we don't really care, we just like you. And so, the more and more I spoke, the more I was just like starting to actually really enjoy the class.
Yeah.
And so in our class, we had this guy who, he was probably middle-aged, maybe, worked in either the army or the like Marines. I'm not sure, but his entire job was to essentially like go on to bases and like give orders and like talk to folks. And so the speech class to him was very easy, and so he was very good at it. And his stuff was like really, really interesting, and he was like very talented at it, obviously. I was like admiring the way that he like took a boring speech and made it like fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's our last speech class, is our last speech, and I do my speech. It's fine. I'm going back to my seat, and he's coming up behind me to give his, and he says to the class at large, I hate going out after Nate because he has such a good voice. And within that, the world stopped for me, and it was like, what? Like, I had no idea. And it was just this thing of like, to have this sort of like, it's easy when like your parents or folks who you love and know are like, oh, you're awesome, Nate, it's, whatever. But it's a whole other thing to hear a person who's like doesn't really know you, or after this class they won't know you anymore, and like a person who I deemed as like, you are the pinnacle of like speaking and like communicating an idea. And the fact that he would say that not to me, but to like the class at large, of like, Nate's voice is such a compelling and interesting voice. Like what he has to say is so interesting that I hate to go after him.
Yeah.
And that really like was, I think, the catalyst of like the way I viewed my stuttering and my speech beyond that point. And so like, how I sort of approached it in my school past that, through my jobs, through my life, just sort of like, I really just sort of like realized in that class that like, oh, like my voice is powerful regardless of how fluent it is.
Wow. That was incredible.
Wow. Oof.
That was incredible.
Thank you.
If I didn't have this in the way, I would just get up and start clapping. Like I was just like sort of applauding you. Wow, so many wonderful tidbits there.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I can only imagine what you were feeling in that moment when that man, said that he didn't like following you because he just loved your voice.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine how powerful that of an impact that must have led for you.
Yeah.
And I remember, we did speech classes. I'm pretty sure in general it's like a requirement for everybody.
Oh, for sure. I think so.
For high school and college, especially in high school, freshman English class. Shout out to Mr. Baldwin if you're watching. I remember I was such a shy kid in freshman year. And when it came to do speeches, I like everyone in that room was probably terrified, but I was the most terrified to do it because I didn't like to open up to people. I didn't like to make a scene or anything.
Yeah.
But I remember when it was my turn to give the speech, I gave the speech and I finished, and everyone was just like silence.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst. You're like,
but
what's happening?
But at first I was, exactly.
Good or bad?
Exactly. I was like, did I suck? Did I? What happened? And I remember my English teacher, Mr. Baldwin, just saying like, you just have a knack for this. You really have something there, and I still have the rubric from that speech.
Oh, really?
Where he said those words because it just left such an impact on me that it was the first time someone told me that, you have a knack for this. You have a knack for something. You have something that you should pursue more with that. Because up until then, I really never had a teacher that said anything like that to me. And I think that was where the inception of the idea of going into the creative arts started with that. And so, like when you talked about, that person saying that about you, like that just popped into my head that like, friends and family saying stuff like that to you is one thing, but someone else that you've never really met before saying that, like just that one thing can change so much. And I'm so thankful that as terrifying as it was, that I went and still did the damn thing because that really started it all creative wise for me.
Yeah. I think it really goes to show how, I know that especially in the American world, we feel so shy to give compliments, I feel both of these examples right here are just prime examples of how much better the world could be if we all just said the nice thing we were thinking. Because you never know how saying this compliment to this person in this moment might be exactly what they need for the struggle that they're having at that time. It's so powerful. I love it.
It really is. Really is.
Yeah. Hate to take us already into the next point here, but I'm just trying to move things along here.
All good.
Next.
Because I know
no time.
I know us. We will keep talking on this forever
absolutely.
if it comes to it.
This podcast will be 8 hours long.
Yeah.
Edited.
Yeah. Oh,
8 hours long.
Exactly. But absolutely loved that first lesson, which makes me all the more excited to dive into lesson number 2, which is, and I love the way that you worded this because it's just crafted in such a curious way, how an overdone casserole turned into a passion for food and a career in photography. So, Nate, why did you choose this as your second lesson to share?
Sure. So I obviously love food and have built this career around a niche thing around food of like I play with food every day and like take photos of it every day. And it's an odd career that I never expected to sort of happen, and then it has, and you're sort of like, how life is so strange. So I was 18, and when you're that young and starting college, like the world's so big, and as artists we have all these dreams of like, I want to do everything and like make all the art and be an artist and be free, and you realize that like, in order to do that, that takes a lot of time and energy and like cash flow and just like years of doing an art form. And so I was at this point where I was in between like my high school job and my like first college job. So I worked at a grocery store for like all my high school, left that to go to a bank and be a teller, which I was horrible at. Side note, horrible at it. The banking industry is not for me. It's for others, and that's awesome. But I just like could not handle it.
Yeah,
It was not very good. But so and so I had like a break between the old job and this other job, and so it was probably like a 3-week break where I was like at home alone. And so my mom's like, okay, well, everyone besides you is like at a job. How about you clean the house and make food every night? And I'm like, okay, well, I would, and like, my mom's an excellent cook and like has been for our whole lives, and like bakes and just like loves food. And so as we were kids, like she would teach us how to like chop things and make soups and prep things. And like, we were very hands-on. But as a kid, I really had no sort of desire to do anything in food. And so I was like, okay, I can cook something and do it, whatever. And so the first night was this like, it was like a casserole that was also like a bread pudding-y thing, but it was like bread and turkey and like other sort of stuff in there, and just dry, just like so overdone, like just like spoonfuls of like dry sand, just like awful.
Wow.
And my mom's like, and so all of us are eating it, not enjoying it. And my mom's like, okay, here. And so she makes up a gravy to put on top, and it like made it edible. And it was in that sort of failure of like, oh, this sucks, this is horrible. But actually, like, it was my first glimpse into, oh, I can, like, food science is a thing, and you can, like, save a dish through food. And, like, I don't know, this sort of, like, science behind it was just, like, so intriguing. And so I sort of dove into the, like, learning to bake and to cook and, like, hosting friends. And then I learned I love hospitality and, like, hosting people. And so that spiraled into, a like, college degree in hospitality management, which spiraled into like hospitality advertising sort of work. And so it just sort of like one thing, the next. And so it's this thing of like, yeah, this one like failed dish like really spurred this sort of unfound love of food and hosting and like all sort of things around that, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny how things like that can really spur some of the greatest things that can ever happen to you. That in the moment can look like a failure or like, oh, it didn't turn out the way you wanted to, but yet that can still produce something great in the long run.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, to that point, I think that for a lot of people, they would just see the overdone casserole and then they would, move on. But you were like, what is this trying to tell me?
Yeah.
What is there in this instance? And I think that when you find yourself curious enough to look at what is this failure telling me, you can grow in astronomical ways from it. Because I think, especially in our culture where there is such a fear of failing, people can feel very like, oh, no, but like, what if this goes badly or this doesn't go the way that I want it to? And we don't ask ourselves enough, like, what if it does go that way? What if it like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you burn the casserole, or this film or this project doesn't go the way that you intended. Even if it doesn't, what will it tell you? Where's the opportunity? Where is that next step?
Yeah.
And I think that's such a beautiful story, and it's such a wonderful way to really paint the picture of that failure can lead to the greatest opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like that's how all art is made. It's through failure, right? Like I think art in our world would be very dull if we just were grade everything immediately, right? Like the whole point of art is to like experiment, fail, do well, but fail again, and it's like learn as we grow. And I think that's what makes art exciting, is that
Yeah.
there's beauty within that sort of like failure, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like making art is supposed to be messy.
Yeah.
Making art is just that's part of the creative process. Is that you go and do something, and yeah, you might something might fall apart, or some things may not work out the way you want to, but you maneuver around it, and you have a team with you that can help you in ways that maybe you don't even know how to do it yourself, and like you rely on them to help you out with that. Because I think you all just articulated it so well that even if you fail, that's okay. That's just part of the process. It comes with the territory, and expect many more of them.
Oh yeah, and honestly, like I always tell folks that like every artist has like their day one.
Yes.
Where it's easy to like look on like TikTok or Instagram and be like, well, they're really cool, or they're really this, or they're all this talent, and it's like, well, they had a day one where they failed, where they like made a wrong thing, or they had errors, right? Like that's just sort of how humans are. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and I'm so happy you brought that up, because I feel, especially in the world of artists, it's so easy to just like ignore someone until they become super successful. And it's like, oh, you're an overnight success, which I hate that term with a burning passion.
Overnight success.
Like overnight success does not exist.
right, because I think it's coming from people who like believe that art is easy. And I think like even even with like Morning Jays and how we've sort of like started that whole the process of like serving food and hospitality, like there's folks who are telling us even now to like, oh, you need like your own storefront, or you need this like thing immediately. It's like, well, we haven't done all the hard steps. We haven't done all the failures of like building an audience and starting a brand and testing things and tweaking and raising the funds needed. Like there's so many things that go into just that art that like I think people just see this one thing and they're like, oh, that's easy to do, I could just do that. And it's like there's so many like lost hours in any art form, or it's like hours where you do a thing and it's like, well, that's not great, or it was a waste. And you're like, well, okay. And I think that's sort of, as artists, it's always nice to like talk to other artists who get it, because there's folks who just don't get it.
No.
And they're like, oh, it should just be easy, because like a lot of times folks just see the final photo, or they just see the final film, the dish, the frame, right?
Yeah.
Like and so there's just like this sort of thing of like they think it's that is the art itself, and that's it. But but I think there's also artistry in like the process of doing that you don't always see. And I think now with like TikTok and Instagram, I think that's sort of like showing the behind the scenes has helped people like begin to understand like, oh, that's what you do. Like, oh, there's so much more involved. Like I can't tell you the amount of client projects I've done where folks who I've worked with for years, come on set and they're like, oh, you do a lot here. Like it's a lot to do like one dish or one product shot. It's like, oh, this took hours of your time. It's like, well, there's so many steps involved. And so I think a lot of times folks don't always know until they see it happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Or like, you have to do all this to set up the shot?
Oh, yeah.
This many lights? This many rigs?
Well, honestly, on your sets of like, shooting behind the scenes, which was so much fun. But it was this thing of like, wow, like even I'm used to being on sets and having a crew and lights and stuff, but like to see it like so much larger, you're like, oh wow, these lights are so big. Like it's just such a it's such this like experience of like, like if you don't do it always, you don't always know.
Yeah.
Like it never fails to like boggle my mind to see how much work goes just into one shot.
Yeah.
One shot of a project. Like all the tests you have to do, all the rigging, everything, and so like, I do agree with what you said, that it's great that people are now getting more exposed to seeing just how much work and how many people get involved with bringing these projects to life, regardless of what form of art it is, like there's a lot more than people think, and I'm happy people are being exposed to that.
Right. But also, too, I think on the other side of it, once you open yourself up to the internet, you sort of
Yes.
bring in comments that are so unhinged and feral.
Ooh.
I'm just like, you should be blocked off the internet.
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
need an Instagram, sir. Like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Because like on Morning Jays, we had like a post go kind of, I would say like viral-ish, right?
Oh, I remember that one.
And
Yeah.
the comments were just like, most of them were very, very nice. Like folks are very, because food isn't serious. It's supposed to be fun, and like what we're doing is fun and not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But folks just had opinions, and they were sharing things, and just like you're like, oh wow, like you sort of open yourself up to like the cesspool of like the internet, and you just
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
even that small amount of like attention, I was like, how do influencers and like other folks who have millions of followers and get like millions of views, how do they deal with that? Because I'm just like, that is such a stressful thing, and like that honestly would affect the way I made art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was like, okay, well, how does this piece of art, how is it going to be perceived by the millions of folks, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a pros and cons of there, right? I think the pros is you get to make art for millions of people.
Yeah.
The cons is you get to hear the opinions of millions of people.
Yeah.
you know, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have people who think they can give an opinion, who don't come from a qualified place at all to give said opinion. And so then you
Yes.
have to really quickly filter out. It's like, okay, who actually is qualified to speak on this, and who just needs to sit down?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And kind of going back to what you were saying about the hate comments, shall we say, on posts, like what I always say to myself is a few things. First of all, like, despite what you're saying, you're still commenting on this, so you're helping the engagement and helping it get further. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, but secondly, like, it says a lot about the person that they choose to spend their day saying something like this on someone's post and saying something hurtful or demeaning or just full of just such disdain and hate. And it says more about them than it says about the person who made this content, and so, I've gotten to the point now where I just choose not to engage with that. And if I do, I just respond with love, because
I love that energy.
right.
Oh yeah, tell them with kindness.
Like,
you know,
I remember on,
That's so sweet.
on one of
I
our
love that.
posts, like, I forget what the comment was, but I just responded like, wow, you have a very large vocabulary, thank you for sharing that with me, because I was
my
just
God.
like, I'm not
That's
gonna,
honestly great though, because
Yeah.
it's so jolly and kind, but it's also demeaning in a really hilarious way.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I love that. That's
yeah,
so
like,
good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let it get to me,
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you shouldn't. Absolutely not.
It's what you sign up for when you put stuff online. People
Right.
will, hopefully respond well, but you get people who just are not afraid to show that side of themselves, and it just, like I said, it comes with the territory, and
Right.
you just deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, that you have a lot of people who want to give those opinions, and all you think is, have you had your overdone casserole yet? Have you
That's
had
right, Henny.
your overdone casserole moment? I don't think you have.
Sit down.
Oh.
Like, sit down.
Sit down.
Like,
That could be like Nate's TED Talk.
seriously.
Like that will be the title of it. Yeah.
Have you had your overdone casserole yet?
That's
moment.
right.
Yeah.
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 Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's amazing. Either that or
That's
your
so funny.
or your autobiography.
Yes.
There you go. There you go.
I love it.
I love it. I love it. So as I bring things to a close here, I'm just going to recap the lessons real quickly. We talked about how a college speech class taught Nate the power of his voice as a person who stutters, and for Nate, how an overdone casserole turned into a passion for food and a career in photography. Two wonderful lessons, beautifully explained. Nate, before we wrap things up here, for folks who want to keep up with your adventures, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Baked This. It's Nate Baked This. And then on Instagram, our pop-up is called Morning Jays. Instagram is called Good Morning Jays. And so we're doing a wide variety of like pop-up events, menu drops, all sorts of fun stuff all around. Breakfast foods, savory, sweet, all that jazz. So
Fantastic.
Oh my God, you're making me hungry, Nate. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for A, coming on this show, B, being our first in-person guest.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
such a pleasure.
Of course.
We'll be sure to include in the notes of this episode for folks who want to follow Nate, for folks who are local to the Chicago area who want to take part in Morning Jays. We'll be sure to include all that info in the notes. But until then, thank you so much, Nate, for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you so much for being here for this episode of Twin Spin. If something resonated with you, pass it along to someone else who might need it too. And if you're navigating something big in life right now, just know you're not alone. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next spin.